Before we talk about specifically, give us some of the background of training that you are exposed to or responsible of acquiring to help and assist veterans. And before we actually get into that VA versus VSO role, talk about some of the training.
So I'm going to tell you, so I just got a new hire, right? I got a new hire. So aside from me, because my training is different from the VA and everything, let's just say a normal person wants to work as a VSO, right? You apply, you get hired, your boss is like, cool, this is great. From there, you got to go to Cal Vet Academy in Sacramento, right? Which I'm also one of the trainers for that, because I'll tell you about that later, but I'm a trainer for that because it's the way I stay on top of everything. Mm-hmm. And there's two phases. There's one group, then you got to work for three months to get an understanding, and then you get another little section, and then you take a test. You get accredited with the OGC. Office of the Inspector General, right? The OGC. And once you get that accreditation, you're able to help veterans. In my office, we do weekly trainings on different topics. And from there, I'll send them to, there's the National Association of County Veteran Services Officers. So I'll be sending my staff to them to get another accreditation, because their training's pretty awesome too. And from there, it's just me and my staff constantly training and staying up. And the California Association of Veteran Services Officers is one, of which I am the second vice president of the group for the state. We have 3 conferences a year, and we select different. Every January is in Sacramento because it's by the Capitol. But we have 3 conferences a year where we gather and we get to stay up to date on, as they come down, get our training together. And other than that, that's really all there is to it.
The training, was this like interpersonal type training? Is it understanding the forms? What kind of training? Give us a broad perspective, high level. What kind of training are you putting your staff through that obviously is contributing to their performance?
Well, this is a hard job. There's a lot to know. It sounds easy, compensation, pension, but it's not. It's Veterans Services with an S, meaning I don't know what my day is going to be every day. I got to become a good plan in the morning, right? The training is intense. Even at the VA, when we're working at the VA, the people that are rating and developing claims, they're constantly talking, because there's a lot of gray area. Like when people ask, "Can I do this?" I'm like, "It depends." I don't like. It depends. Like what? There's a yes and there's a no. I can get you the yes. We can circle the. I can always find a way, right? In my head, it depends. There's a lot to it. It depends on the generation of war, when you served, what branch of service, where you were at. It can get complicated quick, especially when you got somebody coming in and say, "Hey, I was exposed to JP4 and I got cancer." And you're like, "That's not presumptive, but it's a good claim."
Right.
What you got to do, right?
Right.
Yeah. There's some stuff out there that sometimes you're scratching your head and you're like, "Okay, we'll try it."
Well, I'm on a lot of Facebook groups, the private groups, veterans only, P&T, et cetera, and I'm still learning stuff and reading stuff of some of these, somebody saying, "Hey, can I file a claim for this?" Or, "Hey, I just got diagnosed with this." And I'm just, like you said, scratching my head going, wow, I didn't even know that existed. I didn't know you can get it, but it's just a wealth of information out there that I can only imagine. I still don't even understand how you guys do the calculator. I just gave up. So I just said, screw it. But again, once I went from 10 to 30 to 80, 90, and I got my 100, I was like, okay, I don't even care. So I had enough in my back pocket that I knew at some point Rangers will release my records and they'll give me my 100. But still, it was like, how do they calculate this stuff? So I can only imagine how challenging it is for you. You mentioned something earlier. You talked about getting yelled at every day. So that's a good topic to talk about, because I know I remember going to my VSO regularly, and the frustration. You know, I knew I deserved my 100% based on everything I did and seen and been through, but I couldn't understand why was I not getting it? What was going on? And I kind of understood that it wasn't his fault, but then there was that liaison responsibility, like, where are you communicating effectively for me? So I wasn't sure if he was doing what he was supposed to do, to know that how are you impacting VA to help them understand who I am. So talk about that, because that's got to be tough. I mean, to have to deal with that daily, you know, with different people, frustrated because now you talk about their money, you're talking about their livelihood, their ability to pay their rent. You guys carry that on your shoulders.
Yeah, but you know, I consider myself a leader, right? And leaders take the blame when things go wrong and pass the praise when things go good, right? So and I've been homeless, I've been hungry. I know how much this depends on them, how much they depend on what's happening, and I understand. I'd rather they take it out on me, because I don't want them taking it out on somebody else on the street. It's no big deal. Usually it's all they want to do is be heard. You know, sometimes like when you come home, the wife's got to get something off her chest. You just kind of sit on the couch and say, "All right, let me hear it."
Right.
The same way, right? You just got to get through it and let them know that you're there for them and you understand. Right. And say, yeah, you know, and if you did, I always take the blame. Right. Yeah. I don't ever try to say, I don't know. I'll be like, I don't know why they made this decision, but we're going to work. And quite frankly, I have a list. I'll tell my veterans when I'm helping them, contact me 2 or 3 weeks after your exam, so that way I can see if it's done. That way, if I know it's going to be denied, I build bridges. I don't burn them.
Right.
I still have friends that when I work at the VA. So now I can reach out, and I can reach out to them, and I can have a plan in place. I can call them and say, hey, you're going to get denied. I don't want you to get upset. All right. I've already spoken, and this is what we're going to do. Okay.
That's amazing. You can't, just hearing you say that, if I not to take anything away from my VSO, who was actually pretty cool, but that goes a long way, because, you know, for one, you said you followed up a couple of weeks later. I've had where I've gone for various, I think like my sleep apnea or my very first PTSD evaluation. I remember that. That was back in 2018. Apparently, I didn't get a response about a year and a half later on it. I somehow got lost in the wind. I have still to this day don't even know if they've ever utilized that particular one. I have had to do 3 or 4 more since then. So for you to follow up and to be on top of it and then have a plan B and C in place, that's huge. So credit to you for identifying and understanding that.
I mean, I just try to do what people, you know, what I would want, right?
Right, exactly.
And of course, people slip through the cracks. I try my best. You know, I'm a person. I'm in high demand. I'm the boss of the office, right? Some people want to. Sometimes I try my best, right? I do the best I can with that, but that's my approach, right? Contact me, and I will try to have a plan to take care of you. My job is to take the stress out of this for you. Right? That's my job.
Yeah.
That's my job. That means you got to cut out some days, and so be it. I got to take it. You know what I mean?
Speaking of your job, talk a little bit about the differences between your job versus VA. Help the audience understand some of the specific black and white differences, so that way we cannot come to our VSO with certain expectations when it's literally not even within your realm of responsibilities. And then some of the things that VA is actually accountable to doing.
Well, on our end, so what we do, you know, I'm just going to run it through like it's our first meeting. You know, Dr. Bryant, you come in, you know, Army vet talking to me, and I'm like, all right, sir, I lay it out for you. And I'm going to tell you today what we're going to do is we're going to sign 2 forms after our conversation, because you're going to get a bunch of homework. We're going to sign 2 forms to start the process. One of them is signing me in my office to be a representative. You have a phone number. It's going to take you 4 hours to get through. I got one that takes me 5 minutes. Okay. Allows me to answer, call up the VA, ask questions on your behalf quicker, and get you the responses you want.
Wow.
The second form we're working on is called the intent to file. All right. There's no harm, no foul with this form. All it is a placeholder. We're just telling the VA that we want to file a claim, And what this does in effect, it gives you 1 year to get all the evidence, all the statements, everything you need to file a claim, and we'll keep January 21st, 2021 as your date of claim. Okay? They say, good. And I give them a bunch of homework. I tell them all that. Right? Tell them everything. Go, man, go, get your homework, right? And then they come back in. And we start talking, and that's during that time when I'm starting to get ideas. Like, I've been doing this, I'm doing this, and I'm talking. I'll ask a question. If they don't answer will you answer my question? Oh, thank you. That's when I'm asking a specific question, please, my brain's going somewhere, and I just need you to yes or no. That's all I need. Okay. And I'll just start building stuff in my head. And, on my end, I just got to what are you claiming? What are you claiming? You know what I mean? You're a grown man, Dr. Aaron Bryant. A lot of my VSO counterparts, they go by the book on some things, especially right now during COVID. It's not a good idea. Like, you come into my office, it's your first visit. A lot of CVSOs will probably say you got to order your STRs. I'm not going to do that. You're a grown man. You know if you went to sick call for your back, right? You know if you went to sick call for your knee. I'm not going to be digging for a claim yet on your first claim, right? I want to see how it goes. I want to talk to you. I'll help you. Tell me what happened to your back. I'll help write a nexus letter for you to take to your private doctor. I'll do whatever on in. I'm not going to waste time, especially during COVID when it's not happening.
Right.
Man, I'm going to take you on your word. We're going to file your claim.
Time management.
Then it's up to the VA to get all federal records. All federal records, state records, they got to request them. It's up to us to get them, not state when it comes to that. It's up to us to get the private records and some state records that they need to help with the exam, right? That's what we help them get. The VA is still going to help them request them, but I got to help them on my end.
Right.
And then we file the claim. You're good. And I'm going to tell you, I don't want to make it seem like I coach veterans for their exam, because it's not really coaching, but I wouldn't be an advocate if I didn't tell them what to expect when they went to the exam.
Right.
I'm a service-connected veteran myself for different issues. And a lot of the exams have gone, I got my mental health, just like, and I'm able to tell them, because a lot of veterans, their first endpoint into the VA healthcare system is the CMP process, right? The compensation and pension exam. And I got to tell them up front, this is going to be the weirdest exam you've ever been to in your life. They are not there to treat you.
Yeah.
They're not there. They're not even going to want to probably get a connection with you, because they don't want that to cloud their professional opinion, right? It is not personal. It is professional. Yeah. They're being asked to first evaluate you and then decide if this thing is related to an injury 20 years ago or a year ago, depending, right?
Right.
And using partial judgment. So I just really try to pump the brakes if they, that's not the VA healthcare system. This is an exam. Then they take their exam and they come back, and then we get the rating letter, and I look at it, and if I'm looking, ooh, that's a little low, that's a little high, good for that. That got denied. We'll come back for that, right? You know what we got to do.
You're being strategic. You're being very strategic. Hey, so how involved or distance do you got to manage your emotions with veterans? I mean, you see them over and over, you get to know them, their deepest secrets, their deepest traumas. Is it a good or bad thing? Similar to what you just said about the therapist, they got to keep it, emotions out of it. What about VSOs? Do you guys have some sort of concern about being too close, or does it even matter?
I make it a point to not care more than the veteran does. I can't care about your claim more than you do. Right?
Gotcha.
You're a grown man. You're a grown woman. Sorry, women. Sorry, women out there. I do not want to leave you out. You're the biggest growing population of veterans out there. I'm women as well. I want to make sure you're being heard. The men and women, they're adults. They're going to get homework. Now, don't get me wrong. Every once in a while, there's somebody that comes in that grabs you. Right. You want to do better. I do a lot of PTSD due to MST, military sexual trauma.
Yeah.
I do a lot of those. Those ones are hard.
Yeah.
Those ones, I'm not going to lie. When PTSD from combat, it's different.
Yeah.
You're a warrior. That's a warrior, right? PTSD from that's a little personal. It's
Exactly.
different. You know what I mean? So those ones are the ones that, I only want to make sure they go through that one time.
Exactly.
And I'm going to work hard on those to make sure. But those are the ones that get me. Yeah.
So I hear, you take a lot of accountability for your team. You put them through training, and these are all great stuff. And, clearly your background as a sergeant with the Marines, that leadership comes through. And then I also heard how when you worked in the corporate and you started learning other things. So you have a theory, this process improvement theory. I'm really intrigued by that. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Actually, I know a little bit about it, but explain that to the audience to help them understand. And I'm hoping we'll have other VSOs that will hear this as well, and maybe something they could take into consideration. So talk about that.
I hope you have been enjoying the show. Well, do not go anywhere just yet. We have a continuing episode with Dr. Bryant Speaks.